Hello everyone. So now this is officially our first session related to our subject topic, and we are just going to start our first unit, that is Introduction to Web Technology. So in remaining unit we learn topic related to developing web application, okay, but in this introduction section we get to learn what is web technology, what is web itself, what is internet, okay, and what are the protocols that need to be followed during communication between client and server. So in this unit we will cover concept of www internet, http protocol, request and response, and most important method of http protocol. We will discuss about it, okay. Now after that, first one is a concept of www. We all know what is www, okay, World Wide Web, which is made up of a lots of interconnected computer. Now some of this computer are designed to serve out web pages. This computer are called web server, which are usually running 24/7. It is just like there are lots of computer, interconnected computer, okay, but some computers serve as a server for it is giving some service. For example, this is my laptop, okay, and if I am requesting one computer to do something, to do some task, okay, so that computer it will give me output, or I can say it will perform task and give response me back to my computer. So whatever whatever computer that perform task, it is called as a web server, and a computer that request to do something to other computer, it is called client computer. So client computer make request to server computer, like assigning for a web page and its associated graphic. If I am requesting, for example, gtusa.in, okay, or else just like isha.com, for example, if I am requesting through my web browser, okay, so this is my client computer, it is request to server. Internet is often confused with World Wide Web. Yeah, Internet consists of a wide range of technology, for example, mail, file data transfer protocols, including web. World Wide Web is just one component of Internet. Now, Internet includes modem, Cat5 cable, LAN, WAN, hub, router, switches, Internet service provider. Now, modem, it is a hardware device. LAN and WAN, it is a topology that reflect the physical connection between computer. For example, LAN, okay. So LAN is a local area network. That means all the computer connected are locally, while in the WAN, that is world area network, okay. So in this topology, your computer is connected worldwide. Now after hub, router and switches, these are the devices to connect some cluster of computers through network. After that, internet service provider, okay. Now protocols. So protocols are must be there, just like there is also protocol between students and teacher, okay, and students supposed to be followed that protocol, and same goes with teacher also. So there is also one protocol between client computer and server computer during communication, okay. So to enable communication between two parties, there are certain things that need to be considered. So first one is where the communication take place, after that how it take place, and the rules and convention involved. Now these are the example of protocol. Yeah, these numbers of protocols are there while we communicate over internet. For example, FTP, files transfer protocol, SMTP, that is simple mail transfer protocol, okay. These are all the example of protocols. So now our main focus is on HTTP protocol. For transferring web documents, the HTTP protocol works over a TCP connection, generally a client-server model. So, first, a user types a URL in the browser address window. After that, then URL is converted to an IP address and it is connected via port number 18. Whenever you search something in your browser, okay, so you are just Google something and your Google will give some results, okay, and results are in form of URL. Whenever you click on URL, your that URL is converted into IP address. Once connection is established, a client extracts the file name from the URL and sends the request. When received, a server looks up the request. Now, this is a sample example of HTTP request, how it looks. For example, I am requesting my Google page, okay? So, your request is http://www.google.com. Now, let's see part of this HTTP request. Now, first one is HTTP, okay? So, this is a protocol used for communication between browser and web server. Now, HTTP. Now, what is HTTP? HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, so it is just it defines certain rules that needs to be followed during communication between client and server. Now, after that, this colon and 2 / says it is a separator that represent a protocol from the URL. Now, after that, there is a syntax which is URL name. Okay, so this is URL, IP address or DNS servers. This will be translated into name value pair, that is IP and URL by DNS server. HTTP request structure from the client. Now, if this is a communication between your client and server computer, okay, so there is also request from client side, or it can be a request from server side also, or I can say response from server side also. Okay, so let's see HTTP request structure from client. Now, whenever there is a client computer, it consists of following a component. Whenever there is HTTP request from client, first one is a request line, okay, to get a required resource. For example, request get /content/page1.html. that means it is request line just providing three things. Okay, first one is method, what type of content, and at which resource, at where I am fetching my resource. After that, there is a header. Okay, in header includes some metadata about request, what kind of data it is, what kind of data I am looking for, whether it is image or text or like that. Okay, and length, for length itself, or I can say accepted language, that is English. After that, there is an empty line, and after that, message body, which is optional in HTTP client request. So this is just example of a client side request. So this all is your message request header. Okay, now in this there are two parts. First one is request line, and after that there is a request header. You can see that over here, request line, this is GET, that is get. Okay, and I am looking for document, and document name is test.html, and protocol that is over here followed is HTTP version 1.1. Now in request header, there is a host name, host name. After that, accepted, that is image, GIF, image, JPEG, what kind of format it is supported, it is accepted languages. After that, content length, that is 35. Okay, after that there is a blank line, and after that request message body, whatever I am looking for. Okay, for example, I am looking for book, then book ID is this and author is this, and I am looking for this content. Now this request line, now we are concentrating just in, okay, where is my cursor? Okay, over here. Now I am just focusing on this request line. Okay, so request line consists of three parts: method, request URI, and HTTP version. Okay, over here you can see that this one is part 1, that is method, request URI, and after that this is your version. So let's see method. Now there are various method, okay, and important one are this: get, head, post, put, and delete. Get method generally it is representation of a specified resource, and requesting request using get, it only just in form of a retrieval of data. That means there is only one communication, one request only. I am just requesting send me this data, and your server is providing you. That's it. There is no any further interactive communication between client and server. For example, I am requesting something, server is responding me, and further I need to communicate. I have to input something. It is not like that. Okay, whenever I just retrieving data, like I am just reading news online, or just reading articles, or just question answering over Quora. So these are the example of where I just only need to retrieve data from my server. So there you should use get method. After that, head method asks for a response identical to that of a get request, but without a response body. Over here there is no response body. After that one, this is important method, that is post method, which is used to submit an entity to the specified resource, often causing a change in state or a side effects on the server. That means whenever you are submitting something, that means client is providing some information to server, okay, and that information cause change in state or a side effect on the server, then you should use post method. For example, if I am submitting some credential information, for example my bank account number, okay, like that, passwords, like that, then I should use post method. After that, put method replace all the current representation of the target resource with request payload. Now there is delete method to delete the specified resource. So these all are the important method. There are another method like option, trace, patch, and connect. Okay, these all have certain purposes, but generally these one are the important. So now after that, request URI. Okay, so what is request URI? It is a uniform resource identifiers and identify a resource upon which to apply the request. Now if I am requesting something, okay, so your server, your engine will, your search engine, it will just map your URI with your IP address. Okay, so there comes uniform resource identifier. So your request URI in the form of like this, it is in form of like this: star, absolute URI, absolute path, and or it can be authority. Now HTTP version was 0.9, but now official HTTP version is 1.1. But now the trend is you should use a website that is using HTTPS protocol. Okay, or HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, secure protocol. Okay, that is why HTTPS, it is more secure compared to HTTP version. Now HTTP response message structure. A simple request message from a client computer, it consists of following components. First one is status line, 0 or more header. Okay, after that there comes empty line indicating end of header field. There is optionally message body. Okay, so this is example of a response message header from your server side. So this one over here, this is status line. Okay, in status line there is two part. First one is HTTP protocol. Now you should know that. Okay, and after that there is some code, I think 200. Okay, now this is a code, and every code has a specific detail. We just get to know in bit of and just just a couple of minutes. Now response header. Okay, so over here you can see that it is date and server name last modified, when resources modified. Okay, after that accepted ranges in the numbers of byte, content length, after connection type, that is text and HTML, and in response message body, here comes that we are requesting for. If I have requested my server for web page content, then it will retrieve me that requested data. Okay, and always data is in form of HTML. Okay, it is your browser that renders your HTML content, and it displayed your content in human readable form. Now after that, what is status line? Over here, this one, this is your status line. Okay, now we will focus on status line. Message status line, it consists of a protocol version followed by a numeric status code, which is associated textual phrases. Now after that it comes HTTP version. Okay, it is now 1.1, but as I tell you, HTTPS is more secure. After that, status code. Now this element is 3-digit integer. Okay, where first digit of the status code define class of response, and last 2 digits do not have any categorization rule. What does it mean? Whatever I have written over here, for example over here it is 200, so only first digit has its meaning. These two numbers have no specific meaning, or it is not specify something status like that. Only first character is important. So let's see what does it mean. So if your code is like 1xx, that means your first digit is 1 and remaining 2, it can be anything. So what does it mean? It means the request was received and process is continued. If 2xx, that means succeed, your action was successfully received, understood and accepted. Now if 3xs, that means that is redirection. It means further action must be taken in order to complete the request. After that it can be 400. Okay, it means a request contain incorrect syntax or it cannot be fulfilled. This kind of error you must have seen during surfing process. After that 5xs, this is server error. It means server failed to fulfill an apparently valid request. So this is a whole picture of a HTTP request and response. Okay, for example, this is a client side request. Okay, and it is requesting, which is of generally 1 KB. Obviously you are requesting something. Okay, you are just specifying what resource you want as a request. So your server will identify that resource, read that content, and it will give you back in terms of response with, over here you can see that there is HTML code. That means it is data for what you have requested, and your browser display that page. So features of HTTP, it is a communication protocol used between browser and web server. Okay, after that, protocol is based on request response messaging. What does it mean? If a client want to get something, it has to request something to server. Okay, then only server will respond to that particular client. It is stateless protocol. So what does it mean? If client has requested something, okay, at this time client has requested something and server has served that. Okay, now after some time client has again requested that particular resource, then server will not recognize that this client has just requested something before a while. Okay, so that's why how it is a stateless protocol. Your server will not identify that this request has come before. Okay, this client has made request for same resource just a time before. So this is how it is a stateless protocol. HTTP request response message has a very readable form, that is a plain text. Generally HTTP protocol is used for transferring data which is in form of a plain text, and with some extension that browser support, we can also fetch some other kind of format that is plain text, images, video, audio, like that. HTTP protocol has cache control. That means it provide some caching information related controlling over request and response in protocol during communication. Limitation of HTTP protocol: it is not secure protocol. After that, it is stateless protocol. Now this is just general simple case scenario when client is requesting something and server is just giving response, okay, and story ends there. But there comes in real life, there comes many situation where client and server needs some complex type of communication. For example, client has requested something, server is sending back something, but now server wants some information from client, okay, so client has to provide it, but HTTP is stateless protocol. So this is just limitation of HTTP protocol. It cannot recognize that request from server because it is stateless. It will not recognize, yeah, it was this is mapping with me, this server has mapped with me at a current time, I am dealing with it. It will not recognize, not a client, not a server. It just only recognize only at a time request. It is a text based protocol. Now let's just learn get versus post method. This is very important topic in terms of whatever is content there in introduction. Generally in GTU questions, in GTU paper you get questions like what is get and post method and how it is different. So these are the parameter that differentiate get and post method. So first one is reload. Okay, reload, that means back button. Whenever you refresh or reload a page, then if you have used get method, so it will be harmless, but if you have used post method, that means server, your data will be resubmitted. Many times you have seen that whenever you are filling something, whenever you are just submitting a form, and before submit you just refresh that page by mistake or by intention, okay, you have to re-enter data again and you have to submit it after that. So this is case in post method. After that, bookmark. Get, it cannot be bookmarked, whereas post can be bookmarked. After that, for get, it provide cached, okay. Now post, it cannot be cached, so it is in terms of a parameter. For example, certain data is cached if you have used get method, but post method, remember where we use post method when we are dealing with some credential data, okay. So cached, what does it mean? Cached, that means we are storing this data somewhere in our browser, okay, somewhere in our browser. So if I am dealing with some credential related data, and if I am saving it also, so it is just contradict each other. So post method generally not cached. Now after that, encoding type, it is a form URL encoded, while in post it is encoding for binary data. After that, history. Parameter remains in browser history, whereas parameter are not saved in browser history. Let me just give you one example where you can see that post method. Whenever you are logging something, okay, so your URL is generally saved in your cache memory, okay, but your password is not saved. Whenever you request that page again and you just try to log in, you can get URL in drop down list, okay, but password is not there. That means this parameter are not saved in your browser history, whereas if get method is there, your parameter remains in browser history. After that, restriction on data. Post method, no restriction, binary data is also allowed, whereas only ASCII characters are allowed in get method. After that, security. Get is less secure compared to post. That is why you should not use get method while dealing with some important stuff. Post method is a little safer than get method. Visibility, data is visible to everyone in URL, whereas data is not displayed in URL. That is why it is secure. But obviously, whenever you are using get method, you can see that parameter on your URL bar, URL address bar. For example, if I am searching for, and just like a trending one is COVID-19, okay, if I am searching how can we reduce spreading of COVID-19 virus, okay. So if I am searching that, then this all things, it will be placed in URL address bar itself. That means I can see that, I can see the parameter, I can see the value. But if post method is there, I cannot see that. Now, after that, restriction on data length. In post method there is no restriction, while in get method there is maximum URL length up to 2048 characters. So this is all about get and post method. Just read it carefully, understand it, and if you find any query, just comment on it, okay, like that. And I hope you understood well. So thank you, and just wait for my next session. See you soon.